Hello, this is the All Ireland podcast, and today I will be speaking with Johnny Bourke. So, thanks very much for joining me today, Johnny.
Hello. Oh, thanks for having me.
My pleasure. Um, so just to kind of get us started, for someone that hasn't heard it, how would you kind of describe your music? How would you sell it to someone that hadn't heard it before?
Yeah, so I suppose it's pop music at the forefront of everything, but I've always felt recently that there's been a kind of lack of guitar-oriented pop music. Um, aside from the obvious, just starting a song with an acoustic guitar riff or something, and then launching straight into a pop production. I've always felt that you can make pop music and you can still make good guitar music at the same time, but there's not a lot of it around. And those are two types of music that I'm a huge fan of, and it's a huge part of my playing. It's a big focus on the guitar, but the same I still love music. Usually you have to decide. Like usually there's guitar-oriented music, which is rock or metal. It can never be pop. Or you have the opposite. It's pop music that is made completely in the box, just keyboard synths, drums, and it doesn't have that guitar element. So I suppose I wanted to kind of merge the two. That's what I'm going for. I think it's doing okay. I think I'm somewhat getting it. I suppose yeah,
So,
that's how this.
so introducing the guitar and that kind of aspect of it, like that's kind of your USP. That's kind of your unique selling point.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
All right, well, fantastic. And what's your history of music? How long have you been playing? What got you interested in music and performing?
Yeah, so I've been playing music my entire life. When I was growing up, I was always playing guitar. I did piano lessons, so I'm classically trained in piano. I have a diploma. Um, I did musicals. I did shows. I attended a drama school when I was growing up, so I used to do two shows every year, and I did lots of musicals. And then I actually studied music in college in Trinity, and around the same time I joined a wedding band. So I've been gigging since I could drive, I suppose, and I've been writing seriously in the last couple of years, and I took it off from the session work and from the bands, so I could focus more on my own music, and that's what I'm doing now.
So what's the story? So you're releasing your first single on the 3rd of July. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so it's called "Can't Do Without." I'm very excited for it. I wrote this song 2 years ago, and I sent it to a guy called Jackson Dimiglio-Wood. He's worked with Shawn Mendes and Tim Chadwick, an Irish musician, and the Liberties, and a lot of top names. So I was very excited when I heard that he was interested in the track. So we went over to London last summer on July, and we cut the track, and it was ready to go, mixed and everything around kind of September and November time. And I knew I wanted it to be the first song that I release, but it's also a very summer track. You listen to it, and I'm sure you'd agree. So I didn't really want to release it in the
Yeah.
winter time. So I said I'd wait. I said I'd wait till summer 2020. So to fill the gap, I went and played on a cruise ship for the last 6 months. I'm home by the month now, ready to go.
So what's the story? How did you get in contact with the producer, and what was it like going to London to do that recording session?
Yeah, so I suppose it's just pure persistence, really, is what I keep saying. That I had a batch of demos uploaded to SoundCloud that in a private folder that was banking that I knew needed a little bit more magic, so I wanted to kind of bring someone on. So I literally had a list of people who I wanted to work with, and I was just ticking them off bit by bit. And Jackson was the first person who was and the earliest available. So kind of the problem with a lot of guys who are kind of at the higher level and usually attached to labels or the bigger recording companies, their diaries are so booked. So I got a good bit of interest in the demos, but like the guys were saying, okay, 2021 is my next slot or whatever. So Jackson actually had a gap in his diary in July. So yeah, I took that fairly quick and went straight up.
And when you were recording in London, was it a new experience? Do you think it was a difficult thing to do?
Well, it wasn't my first time in a studio or anything. I've done a lot of session work and stuff, but it was definitely different when it's the focus, if that makes sense. Like
Yeah.
it was my song. It was all about me, which was different, obviously, because every time I've been in the studio before, it's been putting guitars or the people vocals or whatever. So yeah, and also he's just level above anyone I've ever worked with before. He's just so fast, and his ideas are just insane. So yeah, it was daunting, but great. Like I learned so much just from the couple of weeks we spent together. So yeah, it was a great experience.
Do you feel like you learned anything from the experience, or kind of gained any knowledge that you wouldn't have otherwise?
Absolutely. Like even just watching someone work at that level, at that efficiency is a sight to behold. Just the way he mixes, the way the way he sampling sounds, the way he's throwing ideas, especially from a vocal production sort of way. Like I really like working with him in terms of the vocals, just in how we cut it, how we kind of approached recording them.
Yeah.
And 100% learn so much for my own production aspects, because I like to produce as well, and I co-produce my own tracks. But just seeing how he goes about things and how he does it was amazing.
So can you tell me a bit about the demos and stuff that you released before? What kind of style were those in, and do you think that it differs in any way from your new track that you're releasing now?
Yeah, interesting. So I haven't released any of my demos before, because this was the first. I wanted my first song to put out to be of a pretty high quality, so I didn't want to put anything that I wasn't completely happy with. I'm a big fan of like American country music, and I'm not talking kind of Irish kind of stuff. It's stuff like Brad Paisley, kind of Keith Urban, the kind of more pop oriented but still heavily guitar influenced music. So I'm a big fan of that kind of stuff, and I think it has kind of crept into my writing, because like the original demo was a lot more kind of rootsy and country. Yeah, and like that was something we were trying to keep in there, but tone a little bit so it wasn't completely country, because I love that music, but it's not the only music I like, and it's not what I want to put out there. But yeah, so it almost had a little bit more of a country flair. I might release them someday.
So when it comes to Can't Do Without, do you think that you went in with like an initial a clear vision of what you wanted the song to sound like, or do you think that much changed in post, in editing, and that kind of thing?
No, the finished product is pretty much exactly what I wanted and exactly what I had envisioned. But I just needed that extra bit of help to get it to that kind of really refined pop sound that I want. The only finished version and the original demo is the chorus kind of, and pretty much the beat and the vibe a little bit more. They're the same verses, they're the same lyrics. Yeah, that's why I was heavily still involved working with Jackson in the production of the song, because basically I know exactly what I wanted, but I just couldn't actually get there on my own. I needed that perspective, and I suppose that more experience out of it, because he's a pop wizard.
Can you go into a bit more detail about the song itself? Is there a particular story behind the song? Do you think that you put yourself and your personality into your work? Are they based on personal experiences in any way? That kind of thing.
Yeah. So yeah, I like to hate these questions. Well, I suppose just to describe the song first, it's a love song, but it's a very happy love song. It's just basically about that person who you're obsessed with. You see them across the pool, they just take breath away. You lose all thought and breath when you see them. I think
Okay.
everyone has kind of experienced that in someone that you've been really obsessed with. So it's kind of just trying to capture that feeling and put it into a song. They've just basically got something, you don't know what it is, and describe it, you can't put it into words, but you know that you can't do without it. And all you want is one chance to show them that they're the one for you. As for whether it's completely personal, it's kind of a bit of both. I find it difficult to write songs that are not completely personal. Or I mean, I find it difficult to write songs that are not about me at all. But I try to pick an idea and expand on it. And yeah, so they're obviously always going to be somewhat inspired by personal reflections, but it doesn't have to be completely. I feel like if you write songs that are very and a message, and sometimes I suppose they might make as much sense to anyone else as they will to you, sonically and lyrically. So I think you need to kind of strike a balance. Picking a message, sticking to it is the important thing, I suppose. So picking a narrative, picking a message, and sticking to it, whether it happened or not, I suppose is the important thing.
And so is that idea of picking a narrative or picking a message, finding a balance, are those things that you have kept in mind while recording the demos that you've done as well?
I suppose to a certain extent. When I start in a song, my process is pretty much out there, and I get as much down on the workstation as I can, and then kind of refine it later. So like my songs take so long to make. I can't do that. It took 2 years pretty much. Like the original demo was 20. So yeah, but I do always try to keep that in mind, because at the end of the day, if you're writing music, and I suppose pop music in particular, trying to write music that's going to resonate with the general public and with people. So you need to write a song that you know that people are going to relate to. And sometimes if you write a song that is much too personally inspired, that it's not going to be most relatable. People are not going to enjoy it and sing along, feel like they are represented by it as much. Yeah. But at the same time, you want to keep enough logic and personality in it that people believe it and that they can resonate with it, because you can go the other direction as well and write a song that is just ridiculous, that no one's ever going to relate to. It's never going to resonate with them. And like the audience are discerning, like they know if a song is bullshit or if it's something personal and true. So yeah, I suppose it's finding a balance between those two elements.
So relatability is an important aspect. Then it's important to write about stuff that everyone can really relate to or understand a certain feeling.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I realize I'm saying all this as if I really know what I'm doing. Like I'm still improving as a songwriter every day, and I'm definitely not assuming to say that I know that the right way about it. What I'm saying could all be completely wrong. I'm sure people would disagree with it. That's just the way I see it, and it's working for me so far, and hopefully we'll see. But yeah, maybe I'll change my mind as I get older and as I develop.
So in terms of particular artists, who would you look to for inspiration?
Oh, a lot. My Spotify is a mixed bag. So this is the number one artist who I am obsessed with, and I love more than I can put into words, is John Mayer. Just everything about him, his guitar playing is something that inspires me. With doesn't matter what he's playing, it just really resonates with me for some reason. In terms of other guitar players, kind of back to that country thing, Brad Paisley is just insane. I really like Keith Urban's playing and his songs. He writes really great music.
Okay.
And then in terms of the pop world, completely other end of the spectrum, I love Khalid. I think his music is just bananas. The production behind it is insane. A lot of the new kind of R&B stuff, I just really love that. Really just kind of smooth, fairly minimal kind of beat.
Yeah.
In terms of percussion, and then just when the songs really speak to you in a really nice groove. Like I like Justin Bieber's new album is phenomenal. Like some of those songs are absolutely insane. Harry Styles another completely different artist. His new album is amazing. Niall Horan, Irish guy. Yes, a lot of a mixed bag. My Spotify's all over the place, and yeah, it changes a lot, kind of depending on the mood and what I want to listen to. But I kind of find a bit of inspiration. Sometimes only a little bit from all, yeah, certain elements.
Do you find your tastes changing much over time?
Yeah. I was actually having this conversation with someone recently. They asked me a question about I think the music I played when I was starting to learn guitar, and it definitely was drastically different. When I started playing guitar when I was 12 to kind of 15, I suppose I was into classic rock, like Guns N' Roses, AC/DC, that kind of stuff. And don't get me wrong, like that, but it's not kind of the music I would listen to now as much.
Yeah.
Like if I hear it playing, I'm not going to turn it off. But so it wouldn't be my go-to anymore.
Okay.
So yeah, I definitely find my taste changing. Even in terms of, I'm really getting into kind of like hip hop R&B kind of now, which was something that it really didn't speak to me at all a couple of years ago. And actually, I think that's a general consensus across the world on the general population now. Like hip hop is just rising so fast everywhere. I think it's been there in America obviously for a long time, but even in Ireland, like we're really starting to catch up. We have some amazing hip hop artists and rappers, etc. But it's just funny, like if you're in America and you go out to the bars and you go out to clubs, and like the only music they're ever playing is hip hop because it's music you can dance to, etc. But it's not as easy to find in Ireland. Like if you go to Coppers, you know, there's a lot of hip hop. So, yeah, I think it's interesting.
So, obviously, at this stage, you're very early in your career. Do you have an idea as to where you want to take your music? Do you have an idea as to what kind of direction you want to go musically, or are you kind of experimenting at this stage?
I suppose I'm kind of experimenting. I've spent quite a while trying to find the sound I felt like. I could have released songs ago that I'd written. I've been writing songs for a long time, but I never really felt that they were right for me, and they kind of represented where I was as a musician, as a player, and as an artist. Until so, I am very happy with my sound. With pop guitar hybrid kind of thing. But yeah, as I said, like I'd be foolish to think that this is something I'm going to stick at forever. Like you're developing as a musician all the time.
Yeah.
So I'm sure it will change. But for now, I just want to get these songs out. I hope people like them, and I hope people can relate to them. And obviously the main goal is I want to get playing and I want to get performing, because that's the entire reason I play music. I love writing, I love producing, but my number one thing that I enjoy is playing live and playing guitar and singing for a crowd. So that's the whole reason I'm making music. That's the whole reason I'm putting it out, so I can get back playing live, which is something that's like it's going to be a while until I do. But yeah, that is the main thing in my mind, is I want to get back gigging. I want to do bigger and bigger shows to more and more people, and this is the way to do it, I suppose.
Looking forward, is there any other particular songs that you want to record? You know, you mentioned your demos. Is there any particular songs that you recorded a demo of, or do you have any kind of ideas as to what you might want to record next after this single comes out?
I actually have a couple of things finished, ready to go. I did a couple of songs with Jackson. I've done one with an Irish producer called Ben Wonders. And I have a couple in the bank, and I have a few more as well that are almost nearly finished myself here over lockdown since I got back, completely my own. That is, I'm actually pretty happy with how it's sounding. It needs a little bit more work, but yeah. I'm actually not sure now what my next single should be, but there will definitely be one before the year. I suppose it's just choosing which ones. I'm kind of fortunate in the aspect that I have a few to choose from. I'm not actually struggling now to hit back with another song. I'm pretty sure I know what the next one to be.
And do we have a particular?
I'm writing all the time.
Do we have like a rough kind of estimate as to when that'll come out?
Before the end of the year, definitely. I'm not sure when yet. I kind of want to. I want to let it get out first. See how it goes down across the general public. The feedback so far has been great, and it's already getting some airplay. It's on the RT1 playlist recommends. I just saw last night actually. So yeah, it's going great so far, and it's not even out. So I'm gonna kind of play it by ear. But yeah, there'll definitely be music coming soon. I'm not going to put this out and then disappear.
Yeah, so obviously, lockdown has had an impact on everyone's lives, really. What's been going on for you, and how have you been
Yeah.
spending the time in lockdown?
Yeah, so it's a weird one. I'm only back in Ireland about 4 weeks now at this stage. I was as I said, I was doing a cruise con first start of the year, so I was actually gone away from most of the craziness. And when it was really at its peak around March, April, yeah, I was in Australia or in the middle of the ocean somewhere. So I'm actually only home a month. So I'm kind of fortunate in that I actually missed the real panic time.
Yeah.
But obviously I was seeing it on the news and on my Instagram and Twitter feeds, etc. But yeah, I got home when it was actually starting to come back to normality. And obviously now, obviously the next set of changes is this coming Monday and or 29th or whatever. And like that's a big jump forward. Like there's a lot coming back. The gyms are back. The pubs are opening again or whatever. So yeah, it actually hasn't affected me a huge amount. Aside from the fact that I can't perform anymore, and I had gigs booked that have obviously been postponed / cancelled. But I've been able to use the downtime to really push this track more than I would have normally.
Okay.
So I kind of benefited from in that way. Like everybody's at home, everybody's on their laptops, everybody's on their Instagram. So it was a lot easier to reach people from the social media aspect. And same with pushing the song to the media. And it was a lot easier to get in touch with people. So, and I had so much more time because there was nothing else to do. So you couldn't leave the house. So, yeah, pros and cons. No live performing, but more time to PR. Could be worse.
So you mentioned that it was easier to promote the single because of lockdown, because it was easier to spend time sending it out to people. Do you think like it was a new experience promoting a single in that way? Did it feel like a new or strange experience to do that?
Yes and no. I'm very well used to promoting in general because I'm always looking for new experiences in terms of gigs and shows and whatever. So I'm always used to kind of pitching myself in that kind of sense.
Yeah.
Obviously this was the first time I was pushing a song, whatever. The main thing I took from it is I didn't use a PR company for starters. I chose to do it myself because I had the time. I can't honestly say I would do it again. It's been so much work. Like it's 12 hours a day every day. I get up and have a quick breakfast and a shower, and then I sit at the laptop for 9 o'clock, and I'm on the laptop nonstop till 9 p.m. just sending emails. I've been sending thousands of emails just to everyone.
Yeah.
Sending to everyone I can, every person that I think would be interested. And look, don't get me wrong, it's going great. I'm getting great feedback, great response, but I now understand why PR companies charge so much, because it is so much work. And I met another person helping me, it would have been amazing. But yeah, I can't honestly say I would do it again because I had no time to do anything else. Anyway, there was nothing else to do in the lockdown. This would have been a real issue if I was still trying to perform and keep pushing writing and production and playing for other people, etc. I just wouldn't have had time. This is all I've been doing for the last month here in my room. And yeah, when we get back to normality and normal life resumes, I'm definitely going to need some help pushing tracks because you can't do everything yourself. So that's the one thing I've taken from it. It's been a great experience, and I've already built so many connections. I've met so many people now just from getting in contact, and the stations who are already starting to play the track, which is great. I think everyone probably should do this at least once, but it's definitely not feasible in the long term to do this every single time because it's just too much work.
So in the long term, then, in the years to come, what are your kind of goals? Do you have any particular goals or aims for your music and your career that you can talk about at this stage?
Yeah, so I suppose the main goal is like a world tour or a big tour at least.
Yeah.
I just want to get performing. That is my main objective, as I was saying. So I suppose the more realistic goals are in terms of that are trying to get some support slots with some artists. again, I actually had some in the diary, but coronavirus has cancelled all the concerts. Well, I'm hoping now that the song is out, I'll have a little bit more exposure and recognition around the place. So hopefully I can get some more support slots. And I suppose as taboo it is to say as an indie artist, so I am hoping for a label or someone to come and take me on and bring me on to a next level, because realistically there is only so far you can go as an
Yeah.
independent artist.
Okay.
So yeah, those are the main objectives.
So we're just about out of time, I'm afraid. But just before we go, where can people find you on social media and all that?
Yeah, so Instagram is my main platform. Johnny Bourke, Johnny with a H, Bourke with a U. I'm on Twitter, Bourke Official, Facebook, and I also have a website, johnnybourke.com, which will also link you to all my various exploits. So yeah, Instagram is the main one, but if you just go to johnnybourke.com as well, you'll find me as well.
Okay, well, this has been Johnny Bourke. Thanks a million for coming on, Johnny.
Thank you for having me.
And the single will be out on the 3rd of July.
Yes.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.